in 3 years. It was a pretty big accomplishment, and I'm very proud to have done that. The experience, there's nothing like, I mean, you could go to get a Harvard MBA, but there's nothing like being out on the street, not pounding the pavement yourself to try to get people to believe in your vision and to write a check and to sign papers. It's one thing to talk and talk and talk and talk. It's another thing to close. Okay? Because from where I come from, in my culture, and from my dad's family, and from where we grew up, okay, we come from a business standpoint where if you don't close the deal, you don't eat. You don't just get paid to try. And that's something that the people at the top understand, and the people in the middle are support staff. If you want to make it to the top of your industry, for whatever you do, you need to realize that, I mean, I hate being, militaristic, but it's a war. And you're a soldier. What ranking you are in the Army is up to you. You can move up to the top and you can be a general if you know the basis of your industry, what it takes, and how to add value, a lot of value to your company. If you have a $10 million company, how do you become a $20 million company? How do you become a $100 million company? Profitably. Profitably. I'm pointing at Alan here. He doesn't want to hear just burn and spend. So responsibly and profitably, but that's the main thrust that should drive you when you get out of bed in the morning. When you put on your clothes, when you put on your suit, when you put on your dress, whatever it is, okay? You should be thinking when you step into that role as in your career, it's how do I add value, a lot of value, to my company that pays me, that takes care of me, that provides my benefits, etc. We sold that company to Hertz, and I was approached by one of the wealthiest men in Miami, one of the wealthiest men in the country, who owns, for the last 30 years, a electronics manufacturing company, the client of Durst and Preston. And he was very impressed with what I was able to accomplish with Amtrak and Hertz, and offered me a really great position with his son running the whole electronics toy company. And these guys were great manufacturers, but they were not uppity up with all the potential points of distribution for their product. So for a time, I became senior VP of what's called Craig Electronics and Kid Station Toys, and these guys actually are the biggest. If you go into CVS, you'll see Craig, the Craig brand there. They're doing about 150 million a year just with CVS. So there's a lot of potential out there to make a lot of money, and we started just bird dogging, using social networking and LinkedIn and whatever it took to locate who the buyers were. And when I was getting into that industry, who's the buyer? Who's my target? Who's the decision maker that I need to get to? They didn't know. My company didn't know. They were clueless as to who the mark was. And so the important thing was to identify, when I was in that business in sales, because I knew what my products were, who was going to buy the products, okay? And so went through a whole process of identifying each buyer, doing whatever it took. And let me tell you something, it took a lot of different things to get that buyer on the phone or via email and make an appointment. And if the appointment was for tomorrow in Portland, Oregon, I was there with all the product, FedExed overnight. Didn't matter how much the airline tickets were, didn't matter how much the FedEx was, didn't matter what I had to do, when I had to leave to get out, I was going. Because that's what it took to get to that buyer, whatever it was. And again, I get back to, that's what it takes to be successful in the real world. Miami Beach is some people call it a bubble of prosperity. But when you start driving north and you get out of this incredible area. Florida mostly looks like Zolfo Springs. It doesn't look like Miami Beach. It's tough out there, and you see what's going on in the economy continues to be weak and sort of limping along, hopefully getting back on its feet. But it's not a thriving economy out there. It's hard to pry money out of people's hands. You've got to do whatever it takes in order to make responsible deals and again, close business, increase your company's net worth, increase your company's lifeblood. So that whole experience, I was able to open up 12 new accounts for that company in that first year. And let me tell you, we closed accounts they had never even called on before. Aphis, we did Kroger, we did a number of different things. We sold to Sears Kmart. I can't tell you how many times I've flown to Bentonville and followed the Walmart buyer through these vast layout centers that look like something the U.S. military built. Okay, just doing anything it took to do business with these firms, because that's what my orders were. That's what my job was at the time. So we were very successful at that. And then during that whole time, though, I still, the entire time that I was away, kept very close with my dad and what was the comings and goings at Mango's. I wasn't as intimately involved, obviously, as if I was there full time, but I started 6 months before. I started going to Mango's after work when I was done and working into the night in the office. And then my dad had a surgery 2 years ago that put him out of commission for a couple of weeks. And during that time, I really felt it was right for me to come back full time and be there with him because we had some challenges in the office with staffing and a number of other things. And it felt right. He felt great about it. I felt great about it. And we made an arrangement where I basically didn't want to upset the company that I was with. Obviously, I wanted to remain friends and maintain relationship with Mr. Newman, which was wonderful. And again, that's another thing too, is maintaining relationships, and we'll get to that in a second as well. Relationships are the absolute essence of people not only taking you seriously, okay, but building up trust, and not just friendly trust, but business trust. Okay, when people know you and they know of you, okay, and you want to talk to them about doing something together, it's much different than just, hi, how are you, at a business function or something. When you talk about doing business with someone, your credibility and your relationship is monumental in order to get over the hump of actually doing something past talking about it. Okay, so relationships, they are everything. Maintain your relationships and do the best you can to keep yourself in friendly as you possibly can with everybody around you. So came back to Mango's in 2010, and I was a different person than I was when I left in 2004 to do railway media. I had been out in the business world for 6 years, done 2 startup companies that were successfully launched, gotten those 2 monster contracts with Amtrak and Hertz, and then 12 other contracts to sell millions of dollars worth of merchandise all over the country. Spent a lot of time overseas, in Hong Kong where we had an office, in China where the production was, and really learned how that type of business works. The Walmarts, Targets, Kmarts, the retailers that are controlling. Actually, it's amazing working with Walmart. I think, what is it, like 20 or 25% of all gross dollars spent go through Walmart cash registers in this country. It's phenomenal how it's really all been set up to enrich the countries overseas and make us all into just consumers over here. And hopefully we're gonna turn that back around in the next couple of decades. But I'll digress on that one. Came back to Mango's, really, the instincts, um, the ability to see angles, the ability to see opportunities, needs to be with you every day. When you walk in, how aware are you of what's going on in your office? How aware are you of what's going on in your store or your bank with deals that are happening? How aware are you? Or are you just, showing up there hoping that people notice your shoes or, your new tie? Okay? Because those are the people that are going to have a ho-hum career. Those people will not get ahead. You will never, ever get ahead, in my opinion. Not thinking about, when you walk in, it's not about, you obviously want to look the part, you obviously want to make sure that people get a good impression of you with how you look, how you carry yourself, everything. But if you are not laser focused every single day on how can I responsibly, profitably increase the value of my company and my business through my work, you're not going to go anywhere in this world. And if you do walk in every day and say, how do I, and you actually do it, there's no holding you back. You will get to the top. Mark my words. And it may not be with the company that you're at, but it will be somewhere else because you can outgrow the organization that you're with if they don't foster growth. If your company is not on the lookout for tigers like you, okay, they're the wrong company to be with. And you take your time, and you look around and find out what other company in your industry that you're an expert at, and you're a winner at, and go and seek out that company. And maybe it's in this current environment, it could take 6 months or 8 months to find that other job, okay? But that's the one that you're going to run with. That's what's going to give you the runway to something better, something bigger, something more successful, okay? Money is an important tool. It's a very important tool to create security, stability in your life. The bills come every month and you've got to pay all these huge stacks of bills and everybody has them, okay? But when you can just pay off all your credit cards down to zero every month and send it out, you don't even worry about it, that's better than having to pay minimum balances and worry about bills and things like that. You don't want, everybody has to start there pretty much unless you come from money, okay? But what you want to do is get somewhere where you have that security and you have that income coming in. And usually that income is in the six figures, and that income will only be there if you are a winner and if you know exactly what's going on in your company, and executives, top level executives in your company think of you as a star, a stud, or just a absolute tiger. And I think about it. When I mentioned earlier that being a good business person is being like an athlete on the field, where there are certain rules of engagement. I also think about in your soul every day, which is what drives you, not just on big days, but on quiet days. Okay. I think about animals, the animal kingdom. Okay. Because again, we might think of ourselves as these divine, things, but really, we're animals. We evolved from, Lord knows what. And there are certain categories in the jungle. You have your lions and your tigers and your grizzly bears, and then you have everybody else, okay? And they have their space on the ladder. And that's where they are. And above them are the predators that hunt them, okay? Where are you on that ladder? Have you ever asked yourself, what do I feel like? What's inside me? Am I a victim? Am I something that's going to get eaten? Am I just a meal for somebody? Or am I a predator of some kind? I'm out for progress. I'm out to survive. And not just survive, but to thrive. Look at yourself and find out where you are on that ladder. As a business person, not as a person in your home. I'm not talking about how you are in your home with your family and your wife and your husband or whatever. I'm talking about in the office, in the boardroom, wherever you are. Okay? It's about the advancement of your business. And if you have it in you to be one of those top dogs, and we all can be one of those top dogs. That's why you're here, I think. I feel it inside of me every day, and I shut it off when I come home. She has to yell at me all the time about not looking at my BlackBerry or my iPhone. I put it in the drawer sometimes to spend time with the kids and enjoy dinner and things like that. Or it would just keep coming in. But when it's on, you got to be just like one of those jungle cats. Instincts on, radar on, looking around. And you don't just see, when you look at your life every day, don't just look at this narrow swath and have blinders on. Look at the entire picture. Look at all the people around you and how you can use them to, again, create and add value to your company and your business and yourself and your career, as well as helping them along as well, and mentoring other people, helping other people, because that creates great goodwill as well, and that's part of managing your relationships. Mangoes now, it's going against the recession. Our growth in 2011 was staggering, and our growth this year is on pace to be double digits higher than 11. We have made great strides in looking to expand, going to other markets with our concept, and we are very excited. We'll be announcing we'll have some big announcements here in the next couple of months when we actually sign, close, and lock down. We have certain sites that we have been working on for over a year and a half that we have lined up, and we can start popping the cork on those when those deals are complete. But I'll tell you that they're much bigger markets than Miami Beach in terms of tourism, and Miami Beach will always be our headquarters. This is the energy here, South Beach and Miami Beach. This is what we're exporting to these other tourist markets that need real style in them, because they don't have their own style. It's all artificial over there. But we look at it as a way to make a great deal of money in the next 10 years. So we've taken mangoes from this one location, and we've really got the ground under our feet into solid rock over the last 2 years, and now we can start scaling and expanding it, and it's very, very exciting. It drives me every single day, and my son Brett, who's in 3rd grade, sits me down all the time and tells me, Dad, I want to go to the University of Miami and be a Hurricane, and then I want to come and work with you at Mangoes. And that's you can't convince him otherwise, okay? He's already knows what he wants to do, okay? And he's already invented a number of items for the menu that are on the menu. They're there, including Brett's Southwestern Barbecue Burger. The kid knows. He knows who he is, what he's doing, where he wants to go. And some of us as adults don't know that. Again, that's the magic. That's the secret. Really knowing who you are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and how all the resources that are available to you, and how do you string those pearls together and make it into something that is something that is compelling out there. I think definitely, passion is the most important thing, but it's not enough. It's not enough. You've got to use your smarts. You've got to use everything you have in your arsenal. You've got to know when to fire. You've got to know when to restrain. You've got to study your own habits. You've got to study your industry, and you've got to follow the examples of people who were successful before you and modify it a little bit in today's world and leverage everything that's out there for your own success. I think that still doesn't guarantee you anything. Nothing is guaranteed. Okay? Nothing is. You can be the hardest worker and you can do everything right, but you could still come across bad luck certain times. But most of the time, that's not the case, I believe. Most of the time, if you are, again, a winner in business respects, a killer, okay? And you know when to fire, you can do anything in your industry. Don't be held back by your own fear. If you had a mother or a father or someone in your life that told you you're only going to be this, oh, you could just be this and you'll find someone to marry, that's all bullshit to me. Excuse me. Okay? That is, if you have passion inside of you to do something and be something, this is the life to do it in. And it might take time. It might take time. It might take perseverance, sacrifice, discipline. And some of those things we don't have these days. We like our stuff now. Where's the recovery? The whole world ended. We should have had a recovery 2 years ago. People like their iPhone apps. People like their games, their songs right now. They don't wait. You used to have to go to the library and get a book on something. Now you can look it up on the internet, on Google, Wikipedia. You can get the phone number right now. People like it now. And that's not how it works in complex systems. That's not how it works in business. Okay? That's not how it works. It's old-fashioned, hard, smart work. Because sometimes the hardest workers don't make it to the end. You have to work smart. You have to study. You have to research. You have to know your market. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what you're doing. And you still may have problems, but you will do what it takes to overcome them. You will do what it takes to defeat those demons that you have that are holding you back in your life. Thinking that, oh, I have a boss I hate, but, that's... No. You don't have to work under a boss that you hate. You may have to work under a boss you hate temporarily. Okay? But nothing that's going to bog down your heart, bog down your spirit. Don't stay in those situations. That is not what's going to bring you happiness, real happiness and passion in your life. Find the situations where you can thrive, where you can be the person, we talked about this about, where you can be the business person that you were born to be. That's what it's all about. That's how you can get to a certain point where you can start to give back to the community. And giving back to the community is the best. It's really a pleasure to serve on the various boards and groups. I think that the most important thing going on in this city right now is us getting a new convention center, Miami Beach. I don't care who the city manager is. I don't care about all the politics in City Hall. I don't care about any of it. I'm there. I'm talking to everybody. I hear about it. Okay, but to me, the most important thing is us getting 30 and 40,000 person conventions that come in and spill out into the community. And they go into the hotels, into the shops, into the restaurants, into the bars, and they buy the t-shirts, and they buy the beers, and they buy the hamburgers. Not 300 person conventions, 30,000 person conventions all the time. And we have this deal on the table right now. So in my position with the Convention Center Advisory Board, they tried to throw all that stuff in, well, the city manager, well, this. And you know what we said? Who cares? The developers don't care, and I don't care. And Jason doesn't care. It's about getting the deal done to build a new facility that can mean hundreds of millions of dollars to this community in expanded business, commerce, stronger economy, better jobs, more money for everybody. That's what matters to me, not the politics, not the who's who, etc. So again, I know I've had some, it's been, quite a ride, and now I'm really locked into something that drives me every day. I'm in my heart, in my mind, in my spirit. I am in love with what I'm doing. I'm absolutely in love with what I'm doing. I'm able to grow a company and help others achieve goals that they couldn't do without me. And that is so satisfying to me. So satisfying. I don't know if some of you will be in that position at some point in your careers. I really hope you are. And I hope that you do everything that it takes to get into the position where you can grow your own careers to that point where where your heart is free and you have the courage to follow it. You're not restricted by this or that, especially your own fears. If there are conditions that are created because of the economy or things going on in your company, those may be temporary and those are not your fault. Anything that you're throwing up in front of yourself, you don't have to throw it up in front of yourself. You don't have to have anything in front of you that holds you back, that slows you down. So that's my little spiel. I really wanted to kind of open up the room here. I know everybody's starting to get their food. Oh, that looks good. And I want to first, anybody have any questions before we get into the second phase of this whole thing? Yes. Well, my dad is the founder and the visionary behind Mangoes, and before that, our other business, the Eastern Sun, back in the 70s and 80s. And my dad is more artistic than I am, but also very sound, militant in a way in what's supposed to be done. And that, when you have the example of something that is, look, you may not be feeling good, you may be this, you may be that, but you need to be there, on time, ready to go. All the BS aside, when you have that type of structure, that's what it takes. That's what it takes to at least be in the game. So, and then of course you need to scale from there. Inside, that really